Hi, I'm going to talk about the Cadillac ELR, my 2014 Cadillac ELR. The Cadillac ELR is an electric vehicle. It is in fact an electric vehicle. Although it does have a gas tank, a small gas tank, to use a gasoline generator as a backup power supply, it is an electric vehicle. It runs off of electricity. It's very similar to a homeowner who can be connected to the grid, and they go out and purchase a portable generator that runs off of gasoline. When you lose power, then you can turn on the generator. The difference between that and the ELR is the ELR has a computer that will automatically start the generator for you. It does it automatically. Now, you see a photograph of my 2014 ELR. It is currently being charged in that photograph. And it's one of the few times that I've parked it and charged it in a public parking spot. Normally, I charge it while at home, which is what it's doing right now. While I'm sitting here recording, my car is actually refueling. The power supply is being recharged. Now, the power supply, I've been told that the power supply is approximately the same length as the passenger compartment, and it runs along the center line under the center console. It is protected inside of its own little container, and it comes to a T under the back seat of the vehicle. And the power supply is what will provide propulsion power when the vehicle is being driven. So there's no engine needed when the vehicle is being driven. All you need is electricity. Basically, all you need is electricity in order to drive the vehicle. Now, a lot of people, I talk so highly of the Cadillac ELR that a lot of people that I come into contact will oftentimes ask me, how far can you go on one charge? Well, I don't typically throw them one number in responding to that question. I don't throw out one number because once upon a time when I put out the one number, this one person immediately started shaking his head. He said, "Oh no," he says, "I need something that can go further." But to answer that question, the way I answer the question now is the first 100 out of the first 100 miles that I drive the first 40 gas free without using any gasoline at all. And that pretty much cuts out the conversation as far as the possibility of driving long distance. When I drive long distance, like I said, the first 40 miles that I drive using zero gasoline. And that adds up. That adds up a hell of a lot. As a matter of fact, it adds up so much that my average, well, let's see, my average on March 26th of 2016 was 88.4. And March 26th, again, 88.4. I'm looking for another slide. Well, I thought I had higher than 88.4, but that's as high as I've gotten to, is 88.4 up to this point. My overall miles per gallon is 88.4 miles per gallon. Now, the reason it is so high is because, well, first of all, I'll go ahead and tell you this. The ELR does not sip gasoline all the time while I'm driving at the rate of 88.4 miles per gallon. The Cadillac ELR does allow me to drive, when the car is fully charged, it does allow me to drive the first 40 miles of every 100 miles. The first 40 is gasoline free, absolutely using no gas. Now, the average of 88.4 is where I am right now, and it's constantly climbing. It's very slowly climbing. The way it calculates the average miles per gallon, lifetime miles per gallon, is over the lifetime of the car, how many gallons of gas has been used, and it takes that number and calculates it based on the number of gallons used and the total miles on the car. So it's the the total number of miles having driven in the lifetime of a vehicle divided by the number of gallons of gas used. And right now it's at 88.4 and going up. Above the line of 88, the lifetime line of 88.4, you'll see 250 plus mpg. That is the maximum value that will be displayed for a particular driving session. Of the last 10.4 miles that I drove in this driving session, it tells me I averaged 250 plus miles per gallon. That is the max that it will display. That is another indication that I've driven 10.4 miles using zero gasoline for this last driving session. Excuse me. So that's why my total mileage is going up, constantly going up. Very, very slowly it's going up. I've been driving this Cadillac ELR since March of 2014. It is now March of 2016, and I'm still learning things about the car, things about the vehicle. It's not one of those vehicles where you should just get in it and drive. Don't misunderstand me. You can have fun just doing that, and you can save a hell of a lot of money by just doing that as well. Now, one of the things I want to talk about this particular session is 3 points. During this 10.4 miles, I used 3.6 kilowatt or kW hours used. And I'm not going to look into trying to micromanage my kilowatt hours used during any driving session, because I have fun with the accelerator every once in a while. And I do it without burning any gas or spitting any fumes into the atmosphere. So I'm not going to overmanage the kW used. Besides, I'm not sure what an efficient measurement is for kW for every mile traveled. Okay, but 88.4 miles per gallon. The reason I look at miles per gallon is because the higher that number is, that's the less gasoline I'm using, the more electricity I'm using. And speaking of using electricity, the first 3 months that I owned my extended range electric vehicle, I carefully monitored my electricity bill for the first 3 months. It went up an average of about $35 per month. And every night, every day, my car is plugged into an electrical outlet in my garage. And I said that to say this. When I see places, they're called charge points. When I see charge points charging $1 an hour to charge an electric vehicle, that's absolutely ridiculous. That's a ripoff rate. They might as well be robbing the public, stealing from the public. That's what they are. They're stealing from the public, in my opinion. $1 an hour, when in fact electricity is not that high. My electricity bill, like I said, went up approximately $35 per month for the first 3 months that I had my vehicle. And I plugged my vehicle in every single night when I came home. So $35 over a period of 1 month, and then you have a retailer or a charge point, not a retailer, but a place called Charge Point Station, charging $1 per hour. And that's absolutely ridiculous. At that rate, I could charge my car several times, many, many times. It cost me a little over $1 for 1 day to plug my car in for one full night. A little over $1 for 1 day to plug it in at night. That's based on my electric bill. So ChargePoint is basically a ripoff, in my opinion. And I understand they need to make a profit. As a matter of fact, speaking of making profits, if I could find a restaurant in a main thoroughfare that had charge points that were free to use while I was shopping there or while I was eating their food, I would go into that restaurant or that retailer facility all the time. It's like Publix supermarket. I will bypass several other supermarkets here in Charlotte, North Carolina, in order to get to Publix, because Publix has free charging stations for drivers of electric vehicles while they're shopping in their stores. And I definitely like to go shopping in Publix because I have to buy food anyway. Okay, now back to, okay, again, backing up to overview of the ELR and some of the components under the hood or under the skin. Like I said, this is a photograph of my 2014 ELR while it was being charged in a public parking spot, public parking lot. And under, once again, I'll repeat myself, I know that. Under the center board, under the floorboard, on the center line runs the battery, what is commonly referred to as a battery, or I like to call it the power supply. It comes to a T under the back seat of the vehicle. And that is what is being charged when the car is in fact plugged in. And that provides about 40 miles worth of propulsion power. And when I start my generator, I've referred to my gasoline engine as a generator because it is in fact a generator. It generates electricity. The generator speed is independent of the speed of the vehicle. It doesn't matter if the car is moving or not. If the car happens to be low on electricity and needs the generator to run, it's going to run the generator. And the generator runs at 1800 RPM in the 2014 ELR. And it also, at the same time, while it's providing propulsion power, if it is running, if it's needed to be ran, it will also charge the power supply while it's providing propulsion power. So it does two things at the same time. Provides propulsion power and charges the power supply. So that if I'm driving a long distance and I drive more than 40 miles, for example, I drive more than 40 miles, which is all I can get gas free, and the power supply starts to run low on electricity, then the generator or the gas engine will start. I can start it and start it in the mode that will allow it to run in what I refer to as extending range mode. It will extend the range that the car can run gas free. So the engine will run, if I'm driving long distance, the engine will run until I shut it down and I'm satisfied with the power that is now stored in the power supply. Meanwhile, I'm driving. I don't have to stop someplace and pay charge point or rip off price at $1 an hour and wait for hours for my electric car to recharge. The extended range electric vehicle is oh so convenient because it will recharge itself while I'm driving it. So I don't have to stop. I don't have to interrupt my trip if I'm driving long distance. I can continue to drive. Granted, I am driving while the gasoline generator is running and is also charging the power supply. And once I'm satisfied with the point of charge of the power supply, then I can once again drive without the generator running. Hence the term extended range electric vehicle. Hi, the Cyberknife is a tool that will allow us men to defeat prostate cancer without surgery. No pain, no surgery, and no damage to your male functionality. The Cyberknife cured my prostate cancer in 2007. And I encourage all men to fight like Spartans. Spartans have a saying, no surrender, no retreat. A Spartan never surrenders, a Spartan does not retreat. Now you notice the color of this ribbon is the crimson color of a Spartan. If you're familiar with the crimson color of a Spartan, you may have seen the movie 300. I would challenge everyone, man, woman, or child, doesn't matter, to wear the crimson color of a Spartan to show their awareness of the Cyberknife. Now, the Cyberknife can and does cure prostate cancer. It cured my cancer in 2007 without surgery. I had to go through 45 minutes of treatment for 5 days in a row on my way to work on a given day, on a given week. And it was absolutely painless, and it caused zero interruption between the relationship between my wife and I. So the Cyberknife, to sum it up in a nutshell, the Cyberknife is an absolutely glorious tool that can cure and defeat prostate cancer without pain, without surgery, without side effects. And if you go to cyberknife.com and use the search feature in their website, it will allow you to enter in your zip code, and based on your zip code, it will tell you the hospital that has a Cyberknife facility that is closest to you.